Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Cho.
And I'm Cameron Word.
Well, we have been working all week.
We have.
We have.
Yes, we
right?
have.
It's been a tough week. Every week is, I tell you, as you get older, it just seems that the week just gets it gets busier and harder.
Yeah, the weeks get longer and the weekends get shorter.
Yes,
it
they
feels
really
like.
do.
Mm-hmm.
And you may feel like Marco, who felt like he was running himself into the ground. Now, today, it's about Marco's Cafe.
Yes.
And before, he used to be in banking. He was like in finance. He quit his job and he opened his cafe. And so his friend is like, how did you get started? Why did you open up a cafe? And he says, I was running myself into the ground. This is a very interesting expression, to run yourself into the ground. Doesn't sound pleasant.
Right. It means that you are doing too much work. And you're doing so much work that it is hurting you.
Yeah.
Maybe physically or mentally.
Mm-hmm.
It is not good, the amount of work that you're doing.
Right. It's like, if you're like on the ground, you're running yourself into the ground, it's visually, just imagine. You should be standing up and doing things, and going places, but you're like on the ground. You are wiped out, or you're so tired you can't get up.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that's why he started his cafe. Here are some other expressions that we're going to cover. If you engage in something.
This means you participate or do some activity.
Okay. And how about get out of something or get out of somewhere?
So here, to get out of means to escape. You were in some place and you somehow find your way out and you are now free.
Okay. So you can get out of this room, just leave.
Yeah.
But it is that feeling of escaping.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and listen to our power dialogue.
So, what made you decide to sell only fair trade coffee and organic homemade pastries?
Because I wanted to wake up every day proud of myself, knowing I'm engaged in the most ethical business I could create.
This is a big change from your previous career in banking.
Yeah, that's another reason. I was running myself into the ground in that job.
It's great that you got out of that and into something you seem to love.
That's true. And it's great to have great friends like you stopping by.
Please turn to page 146. You can find our power dialogue there. Now, Bobby begins by saying, so, what made you decide to sell only fair trade coffee and organic homemade pastries? Okay, our power pattern is in the first sentence. What made you decide to? What made you decide to? So, you could say, why did you decide to? Is there a difference or is it the same?
So there isn't a huge difference. In this case, the meaning would be the same.
Yeah.
But often, when in Korean, I see the word 계기, right?
Yeah.
Kind of your reason for doing something.
Right.
I will often see it in this way. What made you decide to, in this case, sell this type of coffee?
Right. It's kind of like that starting point or that turning point.
Yeah.
Like, what was it that made you get into this?
Yeah, you're deciding, but you're asking kind of what was the motivation for doing this thing?
That's right. So here, what made you decide basically is asking, what was the motive? What was the driving force or the motivation for you to do that? Okay. And Marco says, because I wanted to wake up every day proud of myself, knowing I'm engaging in the most ethical business I could create. Now remember, Bobby's goods are very high quality. They're fair trade and organic, homemade, right?
Yes.
So Marco is like, well, I want to engage in the most ethical business. Okay, so to engage in the most ethical business?
So first, engage in means to participate in or to do. It's kind of a maybe more advanced term.
Yeah, it seems a little formal.
It seems formal, maybe a little official. Yeah, you could technically probably just say do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I was doing ethical business.
Yeah.
But to engage in feels a little more professional, maybe.
Right. And also, what he says next is also a little bit like ethical business. The word ethical is what?
Ethical means something that has good ethics. It is morally good. Right? So when we talk about ethical business, we're talking about businesses that pay people enough money, that are not hurting the environment.
Yeah, or take advantage of.
Right. So some businesses only think about profit and do not think about any of the other bad things that could happen from their business.
Right.
But an ethical company, an ethical business is thinking about how will this affect society? How will this affect our customers? It has an ethical view.
That's right. And that's why fair trade coffee or fair trade chocolate, it's to make sure that this business transaction is fair.
Right.
That the people who are buying are giving fair wages or fair pay.
Yeah, the working conditions are good.
The working conditions are good. That's right.
Right.
Okay, so then what does Bobby say?
This is a big change from your previous career in banking.
Okay, so it's really kind of very, very different because his career in finance and banking is very different from, dealing with fair trade coffee and homemade pastries, right?
Yes.
And Marco says, yeah, that's another reason I was running myself into the ground in that job. So his previous job in banking was running himself into the ground. So, was it a good job?
No. It was, another word we might use is destroying him.
Yeah.
He was working so much that it was hurting him, maybe physically, definitely mentally, right?
The stress.
So a lot of people I know in banking, investment banking, they work like 70, 80, 90 hours a week. It's very high stress, long working hours.
Right.
And often they do get paid well, but the conditions are so difficult, they cannot continue for a very long time.
I hear these stories all the time. And I had a friend who worked in Wall Street. And she was worked for a couple of years and she was out.
Yeah.
Because, you make a lot of money, but boy, a lot of those people, it's all about their job.
Yes.
They carry it everywhere they go.
Yeah, there is no work-life balance there.
No balance, that's right. So if you run yourself to the ground, so our listeners, let's make it a realistic example here. If the job is running yourself into the ground, that's extreme.
Yes.
You probably want to get out of that job. But could we say, this project or this boss is running me into the ground? Could you say it that way or not really?
I would say that it has to usually be your own push.
Got it. Yes. Not that someone is doing it to you.
Yeah. So even if it is the pressure from your boss, I think when you make this statement, you have to say, I'm running myself into the ground with this job.
Okay. So it's not like someone is forcing you to do it.
My boss is running me into the ground. No, I don't think it can be another person.
Yeah.
Even if in reality
it is.
That is the reason why it's happening.
Okay, very good point. Okay, keep that in mind. And Bobby says, it's great that you got out of that and into something you seem to love. So you got out of that job or you got out of that career. So it does feel like, oof. Good thing you escaped.
Yes.
You left.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this get out of, it can be escaping a job. It could just mean you don't have to do some responsibility. Or maybe you get out of a birthday party. there's some type of appointment, a child's birthday party that you don't want to go to.
Well,
and you're like, oh,
yeah,
gosh.
that's right. I mean, or you don't want to go to a wedding, or there's things that you don't want to go to.
Yeah, how do I get out of this?
How do I get out of this? Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Also, too, I was thinking of relationship, too.
Get out of a relationship.
Yeah, people get out of a relationship. They try to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And Marco says that's true, and it's great to have great friends like you stopping by. So, maybe some of our listeners listening right now may want to get out of their jobs, but it's unrealistic. We all need to work and make money, but we definitely don't want you to be running yourself into the ground.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and listen to that one more time.
So, what made you decide to sell only fair trade coffee and organic homemade pastries?
Because I wanted to wake up every day proud of myself, knowing I'm engaged in the most ethical business I could create.
This is a big change from your previous career in banking.
Yeah, that's another reason. I was running myself into the ground in that job.
It's great that you got out of that and into something you seem to love.
That's true. And it's great to have great friends like you stopping by.
It's time for Power Note. Let's look at pages 148 and 49. If you engage in something, it means that you are participating or are involved in something. How was the family dinner with your Uncle Rick?
It was interesting. We engaged in a lively discussion about the need for renewable energy.
Okay, so when you use this word engaged, it is a bit formal. Sometimes here in this context, we engaged in a lively discussion. Okay, so was it really a great discussion? What do you think?
I guess it depends on the family.
Yeah.
Often at a family dinner, things where you are having a lively discussion, that's a nice way of saying we kind of fought a little bit.
Yes. Yes. Right. That's why English is kind of hard sometimes because you have to read into this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we engaged in a lively discussion. It's a very, very nice way of saying we kind of got into a fight.
Yeah. It's a debate.
Argument.
Yeah.
Argument.
It's a very passionate debate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. He often engages in debates to express his opinions on important topics. Again, this is common. Engage in a debate.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Another thing you can engage in, unfortunately, is engage in warfare.
Ooh.
So we hear about this a lot in the news. When two countries are fighting, we can say they are engaging in warfare, engaging in combat.
Yeah, that's right. Or how about engaging in illegal activities?
Yeah.
So all of those, like these examples, kind of shows that it's a bit formal.
Yeah, there's some weight to it.
That's right.
You're doing the thing.
Yes.
But it feels weighty.
Right.
A little heavy.
It's very heavy.
Yeah.
That's right. So engaging in illegal activities, that's heavy, right? It's illegal.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you run yourself into the ground, it means basically you're the one who's really working too hard. Don't run yourself into the ground trying to do everything yourself.
It's for our daughter's wedding, so everything has to be perfect.
Right. So if someone says to you, don't run yourself into the ground doing this, it means like don't do too much. After weeks of overtime, Sarah ran herself into the ground and needed a break. So in both of these examples, like we just mentioned earlier, they're doing it to themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
I think when you're talking about people, you can really only use this when you're talking about yourself, herself, hisself. However, when it's not a person, for example, to run a company into the ground.
Ooh, what does that mean?
So let's say you have a boss, a 사장님, that is always making the wrong decisions.
Oh, no.
They just do not know how to lead a company.
Terrible.
Every business decision they make is the wrong one.
Oh, no.
And over time, it just hurts the company until the company fails.
Ooh, it Oh, boy.
So the boss ran the company into the ground.
Into the ground, meaning that he destroyed the company.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also run a relationship into the ground.
Ooh.
Maybe one person or both just does not treat the other person like they need to be treated.
Yeah.
And over time, it hurts the relationship.
Right.
Until you have to break up.
That's right. So I feel like in all of these situations, it does take a little time to run something into the ground.
Yes.
Right? Okay. You got to do it again and again. And finally, it's the end. It's like, bye-bye. Okay. Get out of something or get out of somewhere means to escape, to leave, and also to maybe avoid a situation.
Yes.
Okay. Jay got out of work early and didn't say a word to anyone.
He had a dental emergency in the middle of the day and had to get it fixed.
Okay. Yeah. Dental emergency. Ouch. After being stuck in traffic for hours, they finally got out of the city.
Yes. So here, the second one is just about a location, leaving a location. So I often hear sometimes this expression after a dad joke.
Okay.
You know, 아재 개그 있잖아요.
Yeah.
너무 재미없어서 나가라고 할 때도 있잖아요. In this case, you could say,
Get out.
Get out of here. Leave. I don't want to hear these stupid jokes.
That's true.
So that is physically telling the person to get out of the room.
That's right.
Of course, it's a little abrupt. It's a little strong language.
Yeah.
So definitely only use that with your friends.
That's right. But we do hear, maybe you go to a dinner or a party or some event and it's really boring and you don't want to be there. So you talk to your friend or whoever is with you. Hey, let's get out of here.
Oh, let's leave.
Let's leave. Yeah. All right. Very good. Our power pattern today is what made you decide to. So what was the motivating factor? What was kind of the starting point of, this decision? What made you decide to become a painter?
What made you decide to move to Croatia?
Okay. Yeah. So you could say why, but you kind of want to know what was that starting point.
Yeah. Why could also be like something bad happened to me, so I had to.
Yeah.
But what made you decide to? Feels like maybe you had more of a decision to do this.
Yes.
There was a good reason.
That's right. Okay. And you want to know that reason. Okay. On page 150, you can find our power vocab, ethical. And the definition, do read that on your own. And please stop by Audio 어학당. Subscribe for a very small fee. And check out all of those episodes of Power English or Evening Special that you missed.
Yes.
You can listen to it all over again. Okay, very good. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.